Hi everyone, welcome to Locating Lauren. My name's Lauren and I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm talking about my October academic favorites. So I have been looking forward to this video all month long. I'm not even joking. I have been looking forward to this because when I filmed my September favorites, I found that I just really enjoyed talking about the products that I'm loving that have been kind of helping me in my PhD life and being things that I lean on. So I kept all month long was like, all right, is this something I want to mention in the favorites video? Is this something I'm using a lot and loving? So I'm so excited to share the things in October that I have been using and loving. If, of course, I just want to put the disclaimer out there, if you want more details about my PhD life and the products I'm using, the things I'm doing to study, please go ahead and head over to my Instagram and follow me over there. I would love to have you along every day in the journey. And if you are looking for more tips, tricks, and guides to PhD life, higher education, undergrad, anything, you name it, head over to my blog, Locating Lauren. There are more details over there as well. If there's anything you want to see or want me to talk about, answer, I'd love to. Please go ahead and leave a comment, send me a message on Instagram, whatever it is. I'd love to talk with you and build our community. So thank you for joining me today. So without further ado, let's get into the things that I absolutely loved in October. Okay, the first thing is, and this might be like silly, but I was using the same pencil pouch, like the same container for my pencils and my pens and all my things since I was in 8th grade. I was using the same one. And the thing about it was at the beginning of this year, I was like, man, I really need to get a new one because it was coming apart in like pieces. It was like disintegrating when I was pulling it out of my backpack, pulling out like pens and things. Completely, I'm not even kidding. I used to find like pieces of it on me later and I'd be like, what is this? Is this my lunch? Did I just spill food on myself? No, it was my pencil pouch just literally disintegrating. So finally I broke down. Can you tell I don't like change? Can you tell I'm not a fan of change? I had that thing for like 10 years. Okay, so finally I was like, I really need a new one. And so I bought this one off of Shein because I'm poor. I'm a PhD student. But anyways, I bought it because its texture, it's like, well, also its color. Is it like the fashion people? I don't know. You know, when Deb Wears Prada, where she's talking about how it's just blue or whatever, but she's talking about all like the fashion decisions that were made to make that color super popular. I have a feeling that happened with brown this year. That or I'm just going crazy because if you can see my pants, they're also brown. I'm obsessed with brown right now for whatever reason. So I picked this because it's like brown checker, but also because it's like textured material and I just love it. And I've actually gotten compliments on it. People have told me, they're like, I really like your pencil case. You know, where'd you get it? And I'm like, oh, I got it on Shein. So if you want a cheap pencil pouch that does the trick, looks cute, and like if you're a sensory person and you just like love soft feeling things in your academic life, I don't know, I loved this. I continue to love it. I'll probably use it for 10 years before I even get a new one. So I thought I'd mention it. With that being said, inside my pencil case, I also have something I've been using. If you are teaching and you are, you know, grading papers, making comments, doing that sort of thing, this will come as no surprise to any teacher out there. Honestly, it's funny because when I started teaching, I almost refused to use these. I thought they were not practical. I didn't like them. I didn't understand why there were some teachers that were obsessed with them. It made no sense to me. But after I started teaching kindergarten, grading papers, something about it, I don't know, Flair pens, people. I'm all about the Flair pens. I love it. I love grading with them. I have more black one. I love them. I have them in all different colors, of course, because I was a kindergarten teacher before this. I've been gifted many a Flair pen, and I'm obsessed. I am. I love picking whatever color I feel like and grading my papers with it. I believe there's a trend in teaching, or maybe it's been, I don't know if some schools have mandated it, but I know a lot of the times people are frowning upon the use of red ink because it's perceived as negative. It has a negative connotation. I don't know if anyone else has heard of that, but I know I've heard of that. So we were told to steer away from red ink. So these Flair pens, of course, like pink, green, blue, purple. I love purple. I love them. I love them. I do. So that was my second October favorite in terms of literal utensils and things that I was using. Another favorite I don't physically have with me because it's not, well, one, my computer died today while I was teaching, so that's one reason, but also because it is a computer program. And please don't click off this video. Don't roll your eyes. I know some people are like, oh my God, you use that? And other people are like, oh my gosh, yes, I love it. The other October favorite is going to be the program Notion. Hear me out, because I hated it. I hated it when I first got it. I did. And I feel like people do tend to say that. And I remember watching videos of people talk about it, and they would kind of say something along that line, and I'd be like, okay, but I don't think I'm ever gonna like it. I don't think you understand. I don't understand. It was very, very difficult for the first week or two. Like, you really have to set aside time to learn Notion and how to like create things. And you also have to set aside time, because even once you learn how to kind of create things and make the pages up and that sort of thing, you also need to use it and be able to organize it in a way that is efficient for you and that works for you. So for me, it took a minute to kind of navigate where I should put things and what order I needed what in and that sort of thing. I have a lot of recommendations for using Notion. Maybe I'll make a whole separate video on that, just as like a bare basics guide, not this like crazy, look at this beautiful template and these beautiful, literally just how I think you should really start, which I guess I can share now, is just using one page at a time to nail down all the different features and things. And then once you're comfortable with that, kind of moving and creating more and that sort of thing. Because honestly, I use Notion. I have like a Today page, it's literally called Today, that I look at every single day, and that's got all the key details. And then I have other attachments that I can flip between, but maybe don't need as much. If you never use Notion, that might not even make sense to you, but I would definitely recommend that you check it out. You give it a try, like a real try. My other recommendation is, if you're watching this video before you've started a PhD program or before you've gotten into it, spend your summer learning Notion and kind of setting it up. You know, it doesn't have to be like an everyday, like 9-to-5 job to learn it. Okay, I learned it in my off time when I started the program, so it's not like that. But definitely take into consideration that there is a learning curve, but totally worth it if you can make it work for you. I want to say that. I will add as well, just like I had compliments about my pencil pouch. I had someone compliment my Notion. We were using it in class, or rather I was using it in class, and we were working together and I was writing things up, and he looked at me and was like, what is that? What are you using? That's so organized. It looks so neat. And I said, it's Notion. You should check it out. So that would be another October favorite that I've used quite a bit. I've used on assignments. I've submitted assignments through that. I just love the way it's structured. So, well, structured in the sense of you can create a beautiful flow that works well for you, as long as you know how to make it work. So that is my little bit on Notion. Hopefully it made sense. If you're following me on the blog, Locating Lauren, you will know that I recently this year purchased my first pair of like headphones. I know athletes and stuff are always promoting Beats were a big thing a few years ago, and that's something that most people have and utilize. But I mean, guys, like I said, I don't like change. I was using earbuds with like the wires for years. I want to say I've only got my AirPods 2 years ago. No, I lied. I got them 4 years ago. But still, they've been out a long time, and I just would not get them. So finally I did. But anyways, this year I wanted noise canceling headphones because I felt like if I was studying, I was gonna have a roommate now. I knew that, and I just didn't know what that dynamic was gonna look like prior to moving in together. And I saw there was a sale on Amazon, so I bought my headphones, my wireless noise canceling headphones. And I am surprised. I'm surprised. I'm not an electronics person. I did a little bit of research on what would be the best purchase because I didn't want a pair of headphones that I would ultimately hate. But these are the Quiet Comfort I'm pretty sure that their color's like gray whisper or gray smoke, something like that, something, you know, whatever, but get whatever color you want, obviously. But I do really like these. They're not perfect in the noise canceling department, in the sense that like you can still hear noises occurring, but they are muffled. They are pretty silenced. When I do feel like when I plug myself in and when I put them on, I have created like a bubble around myself, and I'm in my zone. I'm in the zone. So I recommend picking up a pair of noise canceling headphones. They just add that extra oomph, you know what I'm saying? Like that extra element that you might need for focusing on your work. So that would be another recommendation I have. So I believe those are all my academic favorites that I've been using this month. So it was the pencil pouch, the flare pens, the noise canceling headphones, and Notion as well. And so another one I want to mention that is non-academic that I've been loving. I have two non-academic from the month of October. The first one is food related. I am, again, I mentioned, a poor college student. The PhD stipend, she ain't a lot. So I'm a human being. Like, I like to eat out. So something I've been loving is I was trying to get very intentional about my eating habits. I think a lot of us can relate that eating habits in an academic program can spiral a little bit. And I decided that I wanted to get more intentional about my eating habits. So I started getting lunch as kind of like a reward. But it started that way, as a reward from Panera. And I just love the value duets, because I think it is the perfect lunch. It's, you know, you can pick half a soup, half a sandwich, half a salad, you know, kind of like the pick two, but it for less, because because they have set options. You can't really pick this or that. Like, they already have, okay, these two are paired together. This is what, you know, the value duet is. And I believe right now, they've fluctuated the prices for the past few years, but I think right now the value duets are $6.99. And I don't know, I just think that's a fair price for a lunch. It was really perfect to pick up right before I had to like go to campus and do office hours if I was finding that my responsibilities were cutting really close together and I just didn't have time to make lunch or, you know, be more intentional about my eating habit. I at least knew if I went to Panera, picked that up, I wasn't going to be spending a lot of money and I was going to be relatively healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't feel guilty about eating the Panera lunch, as opposed to some other places you might be like, oh man, I had a really bad lunch and feel guilty about that. So that's just for my people who want to be intentional about their eating habits and try to stay as healthy as possible. I think that was an October favorite for me. And it's also, like I said, it's a good reward if you are like, okay, I got to get the studying done. How am I going to motivate myself? I think that's a good option. So I wanted to mention that for anyone who was looking for something like I was. My second non-academic favorite is, and I mentioned in my last video that scents were kind of setting the mood for me in September for my studying. That's how I was romanticizing my study life, was with the candles. It's right there. The one I mentioned last month, the Leaves candle that I was using from Bath & Body Works. And I also mentioned wearing like perfumes and things to set the tone when you're going into classes or teaching, whatever it is. I felt that that was a great way to just set a tone, set a mood, romanticize the academic life. So I guess I really talk about a lot of like sensory related favorites, right? I talked about foods, that's like taste. I talked about the scents last month, that's like smell. And now I'm going to talk about your hearing. I'm going to talk about Spotify. Sorry, Apple Music listeners. I love Spotify. I've always loved Spotify. That is the only subscription service that I will justify buying, because $10 is expensive, but I use Spotify religiously, like every single day. I'm always using it. So with that being said, I really love for studying. I know some people will look up on YouTube like ambiance and things. I love the set playlists that Spotify creates. They're so great for us. They're so nice to us. I love the Peaceful Piano one a lot. I use that one a lot. Big fan of the Peaceful Piano playlist on Spotify. So I recommend that. I recently, because we're getting into fall, well, we're deep in fall. We're in November now. Because we're also getting into Christmas as well. Maybe if you're a guy or a girl who wants to listen to Christmas music, but also loves Thanksgiving and doesn't want to like jump into it, I found like Vince Guaraldi playlists are really, really good. Kind of that jazz music that kind of sets that mood. I was listening to like Harry Connick Jr. and you know, those kind of artists. They have little playlists curated around their styles. If you're a country music fan, interestingly, I found that the Zach Bryan, like This Is Zach Bryan playlist, it's obviously all Zach Bryan. You have to like Zach Bryan, which I think a lot of people do. But anyway, I've been studying to that one. Like, I really get to work on that one. So I would recommend, even if you don't obviously have the same music taste as me, everyone's different, I would definitely find a playlist or album or create your own playlist that really gets you motivated for studying. Sometimes for me, all I have to do is pick out like one song when I'm like laying in bed, like I don't want to study right now. I just have to pick one song, and that'll get the mood going, and I'll start to get into that habit of getting up and doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I would definitely recommend you look into that, see if music can help you out, romanticize your study habits. That was a great thing for me in the month of October. So that was everything. Those were my October favorites. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you test out one of my October favorites. Maybe you agree and one of them was yours as well. I would love to hear about it if that is the case. Besides that, I'm so glad you guys came along with me. Again, you can follow me on Instagram or on the blog for more details and things like that. Anything you want answers to, please send it my way. I'd love, love, love to answer it and keep our community going here. So thank you for joining me on this video, and I hope to see you on the next one.